Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maria. I am a student of 608 group. My scientific supervisor is Professor and Doctor of Psychological Sciences Mikadze Yuri Vladimirovich. I would like to talk about my course work on topic features of subject of words verbs. Let's start with relevance of my topic. Among other things, humans talk about what they perceive and do, like glowing, hoping, and squeaking. What is the relationship between our sensory motor experiences and what meanings? Does understanding action verbs rely on the same neural circuits as seeing and acting? The available evidence indicates that the sensory motor experience and what meanings are represented in distinct but interacting systems. The relevance it is caused by a problem what arises in the process of speech recovery in connection with the selection of the necessary materials for rehabilitation, taking into account the specifics of recognizing actions, and also the problem of perception and naming of action. Purpose of a study about to study the determination of a subject, content of verb, words used in different contexts in healthy participants. Object is impressive speech. Subject is impaired understanding of verb words in normal and pathological conditions. The research hypothesis subjects in the process of determining the subject content or denotation of a verb word will prefer when choosing those images that contain a moderate amount of contextual details compared to images that involve a minimum and maximum amount of detail and context. The sample is about 20 participants, 8 males, mean age 36 and 5% years, range 30 per 70 years, participated in the study. All participants were right-handed native Russian speakers with normal vision, no history or of neurological or psychiatric diseases, and a high level of education. The stimulus material. Verbal stimuli were taken from the frequency dictionary of a modern Russian language. Words verbs must be specific situational, objective characteristic. From the selected words, 10 verbal stimuli: eat, play, sit, cut, eat, knit, wash, dig, write, read, were observed using an additional survey of a sample not included in the study. The survey revealed subject correlation with each verb, and the resulting high-frequency responses were used to select subjects for visual stimuli to determine that the drawings would be equally recognizable. 40 visual stimuli are presented in 4 categories with different visual context options. Each verbal stimulus is labeled with 4 visual stimuli, figure 5. Category number 1 is a subject image. A picture with great context, no details on a white background. One item is shown. Category number 2 is a subject image involving details indicating the intent of industrial action with the data contained on a white background. An object with a part of a body is depicted and indication of the intention of the action. Category number 3, an image showing an action in progress with a moderate level of context and detail for the eventual execution of that action. White background. The picture shows a person performing a contouring action. And the last one, category number 4, is an image that shows an action in progress with plenty of detail, context, and a colored background appropriate to the situation. The picture shows a person performing an action with his hands, clarifying the details. The procedure. Visual stimuli were presented in a PowerPoint presentation with 4 images positioned at the corners of the screen in a quasi-randomized order. The examiner read the target word aloud while the slides were presented and recorded the selected images on the score sheet. Beforehand, participants were given verbal instructions, which stated that they would need to select the corresponding picture based on the named word. Presentation time in 5 seconds. Types of elections. Elections focused on the presence in the context of details that are insufficient for an unambiguous adequate correlation. Elections focused on a separate fragment of action or intention. Selections focused on the presence in the context of details sufficient for adequate correlation. Selections focused on availability in the context of excess detail. The results of a study to identify the role of context in the process of denotation of words are presented in table number 1. Excel was used to calculate percentages among categories. The average of participants' choices among all verbs for each category was calculated. Category number 1, which is represented by subject image of a verb, a picture with minimal context, no details on a white background, was chosen by participants in 0 and 5% of cases. Category number 2, represented by an object image with a minimum amount of details indicating the intention to perform an action with this object, was chosen by participants in 46% of cases. Category number 3, which is represented by an image showing an action in progress with a moderate amount of context and detail for the eventual execution of that action, was selected 57.5% of the time. And the last one, category number 4, represented by an image showing an action in progress with plenty of detail and context, was selected 44% of the time. When selecting image types, there were 2 response options from participants: single choice and multiple choice. The discussion of the results. 7 out of 20 participants chose multiple answers, arguing that these stimuli were the same word, which may indicate a narrowing of a semantic field. 13 participants chose a single answer from many. Based on the above results, the following conclusions can be drawn. Category number 1 has the lowest selection rate among all categories, which may indicate insufficient context and detail for the denotation process. A single image of an object can anchor the process of labeling a stimulus with a noun. Category number 2 is in second to last place, is chosen by participants, which may also indicate a lack of context. But the percentage gap with the most chosen categories is smaller than with a similar category with minimal context. The intention of the action and one item that relates to the context of the action have an average selectable characteristic. Category number 3 has the highest selection percentages among all participants. We can talk about some optimal level of context and detail for the denotation process. The action in the process and the number of items in the size of 3 parts, which complement the recognition context, contribute to a higher potential for choosing a given category. And category number 4 is the second most chosen category, which may also indicate that the abundance of context and detail contributed to avoid designation. It should be noted that our hypothesis assumed an equally low percentage of choice among categories with minimal context. However, the category in which the intention to act appears, but initially doesn't have the optimal option for denotating the action, has a significant percentage gap with the category the minimal context is presented one item. This information may indicate that the appearance of intention several times increases the percentage of participants' choice of this category in the process of denotation of verb thoughts. It is also worth mentioning that our hypothesis potentially took into account the negative impact of the abundance of category number 4. Details on the denotation process, since additional details may introduce new meanings. However, during the study it was revealed that the abundance of details and context on the contrary has a positive dynamic in the process of choosing denotations compared to minimal context, which may indicate that context is quantitatively required to design a stimulus with an action word. Our research allows us to draw the following conclusions. The process of determining the subject content or denotation of purpose is influenced by the number of details, objects, and the characteristics of the context. The action in the process and the number of details, objects in the amount of 3 which complement the context of recognition contribute to a higher definition of what verb as corresponding to it. A single image of an object is not enough for an adequate correlation because it is perceived as a noun. The presence in the context of an excessive number of details, 4 objects or more, contributes to a better correlation with what verb than the complete absence, as in the case with a single object. In conclusion, I would like to say that the assigned tasks and goals were achieved. The data obtained during the study of a control group will be used in further research when compared with a group that has organic brain lesions, which may have a positive contribution to the field of rehabilitation of patients with vascular lesions of the brain and traumatic brain injuries. Thank you for attention.